In the spring of 2019, Pastor Brodes Perry was gunned down in the threshold of his apartment in Collierville, Tennessee. The neighborhood, his congregation, and his wife were left dumbfounded that a man of faith who dedicated his life's work to the church had been targeted was both shocking and confusing. Slowly, the pieces began to fall into place, and the pastor's secrets revealed. It seems the path toward his violent end had been set in motion some 2 years before, when the pastor began living his life according to a book that was not the Bible.
One time he told me about a book that he wanted me to read. That was about the extent of it. Hey, I read this book, I think you should read it.
Did he tell you what it was about?
I think I've gathered what it was about, yeah.
Hi there, I'm Kevin, and welcome to Just Thought Lounge. Today's case takes us to church in Arkansas and Tennessee. We explore the hidden lives of a pastor and a therapist, both seeking to help others, but they could not help themselves. Let's take a look. Collierville is a thriving, upscale suburb roughly 25 miles southeast of Memphis, Tennessee. Generally considered a safe and welcoming town, its family-friendly community offers great schools, boutique shopping, and historic charm. Like most of its surrounding area, the scattering of churches, large and small, signals the significant role of the church in the community's social structure, a population dominated by traditionally minded, God-fearing Christians.
You should be a witness. You are testifying.
Pastor Brodes Perry and his wife Tabitha moved to their home in Collierville in late 2018, following a job offer 5 months earlier from the Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church in Memphis. After only 5 months in their new apartment, they were still settling in. Settling in after a home move can take some time. There are a seemingly endless number of considerations. The process can be a stressful one, even if everything goes to plan, which it never really does. A few months ago, I moved across the country to a new home. Amongst the chaos of organizing the move, one of the more frustrating parts was realizing how much of life depends on systems you've quietly built over time, especially healthcare. Finding a new doctor can feel difficult. Availability is inconsistent, information is vague, and the process can feel overwhelming. That is why I'm grateful for the sponsor of today's video, ZocDoc. ZocDoc lets you search and compare local in-network doctors, see actual appointment openings, and click to instantly book a visit. Appointments can happen fast, usually within 24 to 72 hours, and you can even score same-day appointments. It's the perfect tool for those unfortunate moments when you need to prioritize your health quickly. In the case of a home move, ZocDoc can help you not only find a doctor in your new area, but find the one that is best for you. ZocDoc's website has tons of reviews from real patients and detailed doctor profiles to help you choose the right one. And ZocDoc is free to use. There is no need to add stress to already complicated moments in your life. Save yourself the hassle. I know it may seem small, but just clicking the link in the description is a huge step towards prioritizing your health. Visit ZocDoc.com/JustThoughtLounge to make that appointment now. And thank you to ZocDoc for sponsoring this video and for finding a better way forward for our health. On the night of April 4th, 2019, gunshots rang out from the Meridian Parks apartment building on Elkstone South.
There was like 5 or 6 gunshots in the first kind of blast, and then there was a little bit of a delay, a woman screaming, and then I heard some more, like probably 5 more.
Collierville PD responded to an apartment on the 2nd floor where they found 36-year-old pastor Brodes Perry unconscious on the threshold of his apartment. The pastor's wife, Tabitha, was also shot, though her wound was not life-threatening.
I saw him bring the gentleman down on a stretcher, and then I saw the woman come down, and she'd obviously been shot in the shoulder.
Still at the apartment when police arrived was the presumed shooter, 39-year-old Latasha Daniels. Standing by the kitchen island just inside the doorway, she appeared to be in the process of reloading her 9mm Ruger handgun with ammunition that she had in her coat pocket. She spoke softly to herself and refused to acknowledge the demands made by responding officers. A specialty gun was brought on scene, and pellets were fired towards Latasha to subdue her. She was taken into custody. Tabitha Perry rushed to the hospital, and the pastor was taken to the medical examiner for an autopsy.
Well, you can tell just how loved this pastor was. All you had to do is go on to the church's social media page, Facebook, and you would see the prayers and the support and just the words that are being shared about that pastor.
Pastor Brodes Perry joined the Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church just 5 months prior to his death. His relocation to Memphis with Tabitha had been a good career move, a step up from the slightly smaller congregation that he left behind in Arkansas. Brodes had spent the previous 4 years as the pastor of assimilation at St. Mark's Baptist Church in Little Rock.
Your spiritual growth.
I grow.
I grow.
I grow at St. Mark Baptist Church. You too can grow here.
There, he had a handful of responsibilities. Primarily, he was responsible for helping new family members integrate into the church community and help current family members stay connected. He also networked with other ministries.
I walk up to Brodes and introduce myself, and we start talking and ask Brodes what he did. And I'm, connected with assimilation and young adults. And I say, well, I work with the young adults too. And so kind of from that was kind of our first connection.
We know that the gospel saves. We know that the gospel strengthens. We know that the gospel sustains, but the gospel also unifies us.
That's right.
And I think that's what we need to, not just as young adults, but I think that's ultimately what we need to do as a church, to realize that the gospel unites us. It brings us together.
One of Brodes' initiatives at St. Mark's was a leadership program. In this capacity, he oversaw the recruitment of church leaders from the congregation, who would subsequently help guide Bible study sessions through what the church called life groups, smaller collections of individuals who met regularly. He spoke with life group members on his regular segment on the St. Mark's website called Me and Bro P.
Hi, St. Mark. This is Bro P here with another segment of Me and Bro P. Hi, St. Mark. It's another segment of Me and Bro P. I'm here with Anthony Moore, a life group member, to talk about his life group experience. So, Anthony, tell me about life groups. What's been your experiences so far?
After 4 years at St. Mark's, Brodes had developed tight bonds with the congregation, as well as other pastors. The church's senior pastor in particular, Philip L. Pointer, or just Pastor P, as he was affectionately known.
And 5 years ago, Pastor Pointer received his next call from God that brought him to the St. Mark Baptist Church. In 2012.
While Brodes and Tabitha considered Jacksonville, Florida to be home, the couple lived in Little Rock and made the church and its community their family. It is through St. Mark's that both would come to know the woman found holding a gun inside their apartment a few years later. Latasha Daniels. Latasha was in fact Dr. Latasha Daniels. She held a doctorate in social work and ran a private practice, the Root Behavioral Health. The practice provided mental health services from Latasha's office in Little Rock. Amongst her many designations, Latasha was a certified anger management specialist. She was also the founder of a nonprofit, Links of Love, which aimed to help youths and others through life challenges to build resilience and strength in the face of adversity. The guiding principles of her charity were represented by positive and sometimes insightful quotes posted online. Amongst them, conflict can be a learning tool to enhance self-awareness. And just because someone hurt you, it does not give you the license to hurt others. In her own life, Latasha had experienced challenges. At the tender age of 17, she became pregnant. Her father, a pastor, compelled her to marry the baby's father. When that union predictably ended in divorce, she felt guilty, believing her father blamed her. The failure of her first marriage weighed heavily. Nonetheless, Latasha persevered. Eventually, she married once more, a man named Brian. In the spring of 2019, this relationship was also falling apart, and her husband reportedly refused couples counseling. Unwilling to face what she perceived as yet another failure, Latasha sought guidance from her church, specifically through one-on-one sessions with Pastor Brodes Perry. On the afternoon of the murder, Latasha left her home in Little Rock and began the nearly 3-hour drive to the pastor's home in Collierville. Earlier that day, however, she made an important stop to purchase a handgun. Surveillance video from inside the Fort Thompson Sporting Goods in Sherwood, Arkansas, captured her entering just after 4:30 p.m. She wasted little time selecting a firearm, choosing the most affordable option the sporting goods store carried, a Ruger EC9S 9mm handgun. Along with the gun, she purchased the ammunition, paid with her credit card, and promptly left. Stopping at home briefly, she then loaded the gun, placed extra bullets into her coat pocket, and began the drive to Tennessee. She arrived at the apartment sometime around 9:30 that night. At the scene, investigators recovered 7 shell casings and 1 spent bullet, all a match to those purchased at the store in Sherwood. The autopsy found that Pastor Brodes had sustained 1 shot to the head from the right side. He had 3 wounds to the right side of his abdomen, 1 to the right buttock that traveled through his back, as well as a graze wound to his upper right arm and wrist. Latasha fired rapidly and did not stop until she ran out of rounds. Tabitha sustained a single wound to the shoulder. It was not life-threatening. In the immediate aftermath, Tabitha told investigators what she recalled from the moments leading up to the shooting. She had greeted Latasha at the door, initially happy to see a familiar face from their old church visit them at their new home. "Tasha, is that you?" she asked, before she invited her inside. Tabitha and her husband spoke with Latasha in their living room for at least 20 minutes before their guest decided to leave. Moving towards the doorway as a group, they were chatting casually, when Tabitha, already standing just beyond the threshold, turned back to find Latasha had pulled out a gun and was firing. It had occurred suddenly and without warning or provocation. She recalled hearing one statement clearly past Latasha's lips as she fired repeatedly at the pastor. "You broke my heart," she said. According to Latasha, her love affair with the pastor began during their second counseling session. Within minutes, he made his attraction to her clear. The two were physical that day in her office. They had many previous innocent interactions before this, of course. He had selected her as one of the leaders of his life groups at St. Mark's. The two were in the same 8-person cohort. Over time, all members grew close. Over the 2 years leading to his death, the pastor and Latasha carried on an intimate affair. She made him lunch nearly every day, either hand-delivered to him or shared in her office. They joined a runner's group together. They both purchased bikes and would go cycling.
Finale.
Latasha also purchased him gifts, memberships to cigar lounges, and expensive bottles of bourbon. According to Latasha, there was only one other individual aware of her romance with Brodes, none other than Pastor P, the senior pastor at St. Mark's. As a result, the three spent a considerable amount of time together, not just at church.
Come out this Saturday at 9 a.m. in the Family Life Center. Pastor Pointer will be teaching this study, Developing God-Fearing Men of Integrity as We Love Our Present. Refreshments will be served.
As their affair took hold, Latasha no longer sought to save her marriage with Brian, and the two divorced, though Brodes made no move to leave Tabitha. Indeed, he spoke instead of opening up his marriage further and seeing more women. It seems that the Bible was not the only book from which Brodes Perry drew life principles. He was also an advocate for a lifestyle choice called ethical non-monogamy, as detailed in the 1997 book, The Ethical Slut. In an online group chat for ethical non-monogamists, Brodes would share his views with the other two members, who happened to be women. Brodes told them about conversations that he had with his wife, about his intimacy with other women. He said Tabitha knew about the group and was open to being non-monogamous. He also said she knew about Latasha, who he called Tasha, and had given that relationship her stamp of approval. At one point, even claiming that Tabitha had chosen Latasha as his ideal girlfriend. He called them sister wives.
So I've been thinking about, the past couple weeks in terms of expanding, my ethical non-monogamy, and it's kind of so like, well, baby, I got a couple questions. I'm just curious, she knows about the group, everything like that. So I was like, when do you want to know? When do you want to know that there's someone who has my interest or someone who I would like to pursue? Do you want to know the moment that I feel like it's more than just banter? Do you want to know at the moment that I would like to begin to banter? Do you want to know once I feel like it might be a thing beyond banter? Or what? Because this is kind of new for us, right? Because, girlfriend, Tasha, that's easy. That's been 2 years. That's been it for the most part. Outside of me going.
Brodes further recounted conversations in which he and Tabitha discussed expanding his non-monogamy.
Because we were in this relationship, but at the same time, like I said from the outset, I want to be respectful, but I also want to let you know that, your opinion matters. But at the same time, I don't want you to put me in a box, right? Because while we talked about it in theory, this is now the practice part. And with Tab being perfectly fine with, the situation, because how I've handled and been honest and transparent and open with her with regard to this current relationship, me expanding it is not an issue for me. Basically, she told me, hey, we can talk about it when you think it's worth talking about. The way that you handle this, I'm fine with, and I trust your judgment because you haven't given me a reason not to.
In the videos Brodes posted to the chat, he spoke extensively about the details of his arrangement with Tabitha and with Latasha. When it came to his marriage, he said, there were just a few rules he referred to as hard no's they had established. No girlfriends from their hometown of Jacksonville, no exes, and no women from the city they actively lived in. This last rule was established after he began seeing Latasha in Little Rock, he said. She remained an exception to the rule.
Jacksonville, so our hard no's are no Jacksonville, which is hometown for us, no exes, and no place in your current city. Those are the hard no's, right?
Brodes's rules were not limited to those he claimed governed his open marriage. He also had rules for his affair. According to Latasha, there were roughly 6. They were only to communicate via an app called Confide, which automatically erased messages the moment they were viewed. When he took a trip, Latasha was to travel to meet him at her own expense. She was to remain undressed at all times when they stayed in a hotel. Should an emergency arise when the two were together, there was only one person Latasha was allowed to contact, she said. Never 911, only Pastor P. He could be trusted to sort matters discreetly. Latasha was not to approach Brodes in person in case he was with someone from the church who might question their association. And finally, in the later months of their time together, she was to speak to his authority. Yes, sir, and no, sir, were the only acceptable responses. If Brodes's claims to his fellow ethical non-monogamists were true, there should have been no need for rules that maintained the secrecy of his romance with Latasha. Many of the rules, of course, appeared to be nothing more than acts of control and manipulation, designed to keep her in the box he placed her in. Indeed, to the many women in his life, the pastor told different stories. To the online chat group, he painted a picture of regular, open communication with his wife and girlfriend, one in which everyone had a say in the arrangement. To Latasha, however, he stated that although his wife had agreed to the open marriage, he had stopped short of telling her about their relationship. Tabitha had agreed in principle, but was unaware of the reality. Last, but certainly not least, was Tabitha's perspective. And she had, in fact, never agreed to an open marriage. The term ethical non-monogamy was not part of her vocabulary. She was unaware of the affair. She knew nothing of the online chat or of Brodes' rambling videos that detailed conversations they never held. The first clue that her husband was cheating on her came the moment Latasha pulled out a gun in her kitchen, crying about a broken heart, and firing. Latasha Daniels was charged and later indicted with first-degree murder. Though hers was a crime of passion, the therapist's purchase of the gun, followed by a nearly 3-hour-long drive to Memphis, suggested premeditation. She pleaded not guilty. The trial saw multiple delays. Latasha Daniels was 46 years old when she finally stood trial in November 2025. Her defense did not argue that she was not the shooter. That was not an argument they could win. Instead, they focused on intent, telling jurors that the clinical therapist experienced a mental health crisis on the day of the shooting. Latasha herself was the intended target when she purchased the handgun that day, not the pastor, and certainly not Tabitha.
She was willing to let him engage in this ethical non-monogamy. And Brodes told Latasha, you and Tabitha will be sister wives. You will live with us. We will have a life together. I just haven't told him. But I will.
Tabitha took the stand to tell jurors about the day of the shooting and the revelations that came to light after that fateful moment in the doorway of her home.
I walked to the door and I'm just giving this little spiel about not speeding in the area, just making small talk as we go to the door. I open the door and I go out. We're on the second floor. And I'm like right at the steps when I turn back and I'm like, okay, no one's behind me. And then I see her pull out her gun and start shooting.
Was she inside of the apartment or out?
No, she was outside of the apartment and he was like standing in the doorway, like in the threshold. She started shooting. He hit the ground and I started running toward him and she told me like basically back off. So I stopped and I ran to the neighbor's door and I banged on the door, called 911. She went back into the apartment. So I went back into the apartment because I'm just trying to figure out what is going on. Like, why is this happening? So I'm, screaming naturally, why is this happening? What's happening? Why are you doing this? Well, at some point I got on the ground and I can't remember if I got on the ground immediately, but I was on the ground and I was kind of hovering over him, kind of in my mind. I'm like, let me cover his head, so he doesn't get shot anymore. And, she was yelling at me to move and I wouldn't move. So I got shot.
Prior to Mr. Perry's death, did you have any idea that the defendant and Mr. Perry were involved in any kind of an inappropriate relationship?
No.
Did Mr. Perry at any time have any conversation with you about he would like to have a relationship with Latasha Daniels?
No.
Did he at any time have a conversation with you about he wanted to have a relationship with anyone other than you, a sexual relationship with anyone other than you?
One time he told me about a book that he wanted me to read. That was about the extent of it. Hey, I read this book. I think you should read it.
Did he tell you what it was about?
I think I've gathered what it was about. Yeah.
What did you gather it was about?
I gathered that it was about people who are in open marriages.
And is that something that you were interested in?
No.
The defense team demonized Brodes Perry. They played his videos to the jury, repeating certain portions, stacking the lies he told to the women in his life. The aim was to show that Latasha had been manipulated by him for years, that the pastor had taken advantage of her when she was emotionally vulnerable and then took steps to control her, right up to the moment he no longer wanted her. Latasha took the stand. She began by explaining the concept of ethical non-monogamy.
It is where individuals are able to have multiple relationships, but everyone in the relationship must consent.
Did Brodes tell you that he had talked to Tabitha about ethical non-monogamy?
He did.
Did he tell you that Tabitha had said she was comfortable with it, but he just hadn't told her about you yet?
He said that she had given him permission to be open on his side of the marriage.
So she was not allowed to be open on her side.
Correct.
But he told you that she had given him permission to go outside.
Yes.
But he had not told her about you, to your knowledge.
No, not to my knowledge.
She told jurors that the two continued their relationship after Brodes moved to Memphis, but that things had been turning sour between them.
Did Brodes ask you about expanding the relationship beyond you?
He did.
When he asked you about that, how did you respond?
I told him I didn't want to.
Did he tell you, well, my wife's on board with it, so why isn't my girlfriend?
That's exactly what he said.
On the day of the shooting, Latasha received a message from Brodes on the Confide app. He no longer wanted to be with her. A moment after she read that message, the app deleted it.
And it said, I think our time is up. So he had broke up with me via disappearing text.
How did that make you feel?
I felt so used and worthless, and I just felt like trash. Like, who does that to somebody who they say that they love?
Latasha went to the sporting goods store and purchased the handgun. She insisted her intention at that time was not to kill the pastor. Her destination was Jacksonville Park in Arkansas. The name and location of the park had ties to Brodes, her second husband, and her father. It was a symbolic choice based on the men in her life who had caused her pain. As she drove the roughly 20 minutes to the park, she spotted a sign to Memphis and changed her destination.
Go talk to him, Tasha. Just go let him see you. Go see why. And that's what I did. I just drove so I can see him face to face and hope that I can get something from him besides the fact that he broke up with me with a disappearing text. And as I was driving, he did text me, and as he was telling me that he still loved me. So I was trying to just figure out what was going on.
She found Brodes outside of a cigar lounge that she knew him to frequent. She walked past him without acknowledgement, as per the rules, and approached him only when instructed. The two spoke at length. At the end of their heart-to-heart, Latasha told the jurors that she and Brodes had come to an agreement and were going to speak with Tabitha.
Did Brodes indicate to you that he was going to tell Tabitha while y'all were at the apartment?
Yes.
About your relationship?
Yes.
And what would have happened, or would you have been allowed to tell Tabitha without his okay?
I didn't know.
Latasha arrived at the apartment first. She spoke with Tabitha about tennis and various other benign topics as she awaited Brodes. When he arrived home, he did not seem pleased to see that Latasha had followed through and was sitting in his living room with Tabitha.
Can you describe his demeanor when he saw you?
When he came in, He didn't look surprised or anything, which is what I thought he would do since he knew I was going to be there. But he was just like, I think Tad was like, surprise. And he was like, this not a surprise. I thought you had some keto cookies for me. And from there, he was like, what are you doing here? And then I went with the story again that I was in town for a conference. And we just kind of started engaging in small talk.
Despite the plan they had made, Latasha said that when the time came, Brodes refused to bridge the conversation to the real reason that she was there. It appeared that he had no intention of telling his wife about them after all.
I saw that it wasn't going anywhere. Like I said, he was not giving me eye contact. So I knew, or I felt like he had changed his mind. And I just didn't want to keep sitting there feeling, at that point, stupid. But he refused to walk me out. So Tabitha opened the door and was walking out. I was still trying to get him to walk me out. And as I reached into my pockets to get my keys, I remember being outside the door, and then the next thing I was standing in their kitchen.
Do you deny that you shot Brodes Perry?
I do not.
Do you deny that you shot Tabitha?
I don't, but I know it wasn't intentional.
Did you mean to shoot Tabitha?
No, I wasn't trying to hurt anybody.
When you went to that apartment that day, did you intend to use your gun on either Brodes or Tabitha?
No.
Why did you drive to Memphis?
I drove because I just wanted to see him.
Why?
I wanted him to explain why he did that.
Did you hope he would say, we can be together?
Yes.
Did he give you that hope when you went to the apartment?
He did.
Did he yank that hope away?
He did. As he often did.
You did it because you thought he deserved it.
No. I love Brodes. I would have never intentionally hurt him. No, ma'am.
You did it because he broke your heart.
No, ma'am.
No further questions, John. And now we're back at the beginning. You broke my heart. So I'm going to purchase a firearm. You broke my heart. So I'm going to purchase ammunition. You broke my heart. So I'm going to take that gun and the ammunition and drive 3 hours away to your home. You broke my heart. So I'm going to knock on your door. You broke my heart. I'm going to sit there and talk with you and your wife for about 20 minutes. You broke my heart. So I decide to leave. You broke my heart. So I'm going to shoot you and kill you in your doorway. And along the way, shoot your wife. But it's okay, because you broke my heart.
The jury deliberated for only a few hours before returning with a unanimous verdict. They rejected the first-degree murder charge and convicted Latasha instead of the lesser charges, second-degree murder and reckless endangerment. Observers inside the courtroom noted that jurors appeared to have been moved by Latasha's testimony, visibly showing empathy for her explanations of her mental health crisis and the nature of her relationship with the pastor. A sentencing hearing was held in February 2026.
And are we sitting here today because of a mental health crisis?
Yes. To the Perry family, no words can express the pain that I feel, nor will it ever take away the pain that you feel. But I want to say to you that I'm godly sorrowful. And I know it doesn't take back what has happened, nor does it negate what has happened. But I want you to know that I am so sorry for the pain that I've caused you. To Tabitha, I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. And I pray that all of you guys will forgive me But please know, I never meant for any of this to happen.
Latasha Daniels was sentenced to 20 years in prison. She is likely to serve 17 years of this sentence before she has a chance of release. And that was the tragic case of Pastor Brodes Perry, Tabitha Perry, and Latasha Daniels. Thank you for joining me. This week, I'd like to welcome Fearden and Julie Wexler to our Sherlock Holmes membership. Thank you so much for joining us in the lounge. I'm Kevin. This is Just Thought Lounge, and I'll see you in the next one.
Gotta be selective, doing all the research, keeping it objective, always been effective, can say he got a knack, pick of the litter, you see how Newton got his back, yeah, the content that you need, this could be a new sign, we talk in the comments, they jot in a few lines, tune in and hit like, love that, it's too kind, feels like the whole world is online for true crime, watch him on the run, but it's not a race, really hard to disappear, poof without a trace.